Hello, beautiful vegans. Welcome to Empowered Vegans, the show that inspires and empowers vegans to live their best lives. Hosted by me, vegan empowerment coach Mariquita Solis. Each week, I feature leading experts in the plant-based and vegan world, sharing inspirational stories, practical tips, and empowering conversations. My mission is to support the vegan community in living a fulfilling, joyful life while making a positive impact on the world. As a transformational coach, I also offer coaching programs, and one is starting November 1st. We're focused on animal wisdom, learning from animals to be better animal activists. Animal activists, Mother Earth activists, and activists for ourselves, advocates. So today I'm excited. I went to Veg Fest a few months ago and I had the wonderful blessing of meeting Katya Gorbacheva. Maybe I said it wrong.
No, you said it perfectly. That's perfect. Yeah,
okay.
Thanks.
She is a power lifter and she's here to give us health tips and talk about eating for our health and how we can protect ourselves when we go out there. We don't want to be wimps and be afraid of meeting people or, being taken advantage of, right? She doesn't get taken advantage of. She stands up for herself. Right? So everybody that's watching, please give StreamYard permission to use your name and let us know where you're joining from and let us know if you have any questions. So welcome, Katya.
Thank you so much, Mariquita. Thank you. That was quite an introduction.
Well, I'm excited. I was so happy to meet you. I was lucky that I went to Veg Fest and actually got to meet you because a lot of times I don't meet the guests in person, I guess.
Really?
So. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a special event.
Nice. Yeah, for some reason I thought you meet a lot of your guests in person and then you were like, oh, wow, you're cool. You should be on my podcast.
Right. Yes, I recognize cool. So let me hear about your story. So what were you like as a child? I mean, what was your eating like? Were you eating plants?
That's a really nice question to ask. Nobody really asks that. People usually ask the same questions of like, oh, so how did you get into whatever the sport you're doing? How did you become vegan? And it's like, I've answered these in every single interview. I don't mind saying this again, but this is a really new question.
Okay.
As a child, I was always called hyperactive. Well, it turns out I have ADHD. Yay. Should have been diagnosed earlier. Didn't happen. But I would really like to talk. I still like to talk. I was studying English and I had a hard time doing my homework, but I spoke the best out of the class. So I think that translates with everything else that I do is like I used to have trouble writing, but I'm a decent speaker. Now I do both well because you can practice both well. But yeah, I just wanted to do everything everywhere at once and be everywhere at once. And of course I ate meat. Of course I ate dairy. I grew up in Russia. So that was not even a thing. But here's the deal in growing up in post-Soviet Russia. We ate meat probably like 2-3 times a week. Not 3 times a day like Americans do. So when I came here and meat or fish or some kind of, flesh was every meal, I was like, there were just mountains of cheese over everything. I was like, eh? So I actually was vegetarian for like the first semester of college or the first year of college. And I didn't like dairy very much either. I guess cheese was just on everything, so it was hard to avoid. And I didn't cook for myself. I ate at a college cafe. But I really did not like the taste of milk and coffee or anything, so I was drinking soy milk. And I did notice, well, I shouldn't say only meat tasted different. Everything here tastes different, right? Like you can go to a different country, food tastes different. So I'm used to like more and what people would call here like local, organic, all of the things that you go to the farmer's market for 5 times the price. I'm used to for things tasting that way where I'm from. Or if you go to like Italy or the Netherlands or any like most other countries, a lot of the foods taste fresher. And here, like, sure, I got blueberries, but they don't quite taste the same. However, the benefit is that I can get this when this is out of season. So that's shocking. Like I maybe had pineapple 3 times in my life before I came to the US. It was extremely expensive. I've never had cucumbers in the winter. My birthday is February 10th. And when my mom asked me, what do you want me to cook for your birthday? I said, can you please get cucumbers? Because it's in February and cucumbers are 5 times the price at the market. There's no fresh cucumbers outside the ones imported from like Turkey or something, and everything is pickled. All the vegetables we ate during the winter were pickled. So there's ups and downs to having everything here all the time rather than how it tastes.
Right. Yeah. And I think about that too. It's not normal to have all these fruits and vegetables all the time. I mean, if we were living in a different world, perhaps we'd be getting the fruits and vegetables in season only, right? And so we're very spoiled.
That's what I'm used to. Like, it's really weird for me to kind of expect things, just see things in the store when they're not in season. Of course, you'll get more peaches or more corn or whatever, and they're going to be cheaper when they're in season. But just the fact that we can still get that throughout the year is super mind blowing.
Yeah, it is. I know it's something we take for granted. So definitely interesting. And so let me go back to like as a little girl, so you were used to eating meat, but not too much meat. And
I never
so
really liked it.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
my parents were trying to make me. So we usually eat. It's called butter bread for breakfast. So it's like a toast with stuff on it. Not necessarily butter, but butterbrot. I think it's a German-like saying. It's a Russian saying. So here we eat sandwiches, right? But in like Eastern Europe, we just eat sandwich without the top piece of bread. Because you can still hold it. Like, it's, why do you need this top piece of bread? You can. I would rather have more stuff on my thing. So what a typical breakfast for me was some kind of fruit. We would cut like 1 kiwi for 4 of us, or for 3 of us, or like 1 apple, or one, whatever we had, and like a piece of bread with a slice of cheese or a slice of, I guess, like, I don't know, smoked something, meat, or is it called pastrami? I'm not really sure, but it's not like a cold cut because it's not cut, it's not sliced. It looks a lot less processed. It looks a lot more of like, whatever the farmer did. Like here, if you buy cold cuts, it's like, oh, I would have never guessed this comes from an animal kind of thing. Yeah, so we would go to the market, and most folks shop at markets back there. It's not like grocery stores are for things you didn't get at the market. You can buy everything there, but it's usually like less quality, and it's been there for longer, more kind of preserved. But yeah, so bread, some kind of cheese, some kind of meat, sometimes butter, sometimes caviar, sometimes, and I don't mean black caviar. People always think like, oh my God, you guys are so rich. No, Russians eat caviar all the time, and it comes from all different kinds of fish. And if it's river fish, it's cheap, right? It's small, it's not black or red, or like even red caviar is relatively cheap. But regardless, one of those things on top of the bread, yeah, and some fruit on the side. Yeah, sometimes it would be oatmeal. Yeah, buckwheat. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I tried cereal a couple times, but that's when my parents were like, "All right, she just wants to try this new fancy thing." But it's not. It's like a Sunday type of breakfast. It's not an everyday.
Right. Well, what are the girls, the young ladies over there, the women, the girls, are they under pressure also, like in the States, to be skinny and perfect and all
More,
that?
they're more pressure.
More.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why there's like this. Just order yourself a wife from Eastern Europe kind of things, because yeah, I mean, I was growing up to sit tall and smile and not speak up until asked, and have. I always wanted to cut my hair short. I never have until I came here. Been debating for a couple of years. Yeah, it's. I have a feeling that in the Soviet, where everybody was kind of more equal, women had more rights, and the post-Soviet countries were getting up there in terms of human rights, because everybody was supposed to have rights, right? And then after the thing dissolved, that we kind of started regressing very quickly into like whoever had more power and more resources could dictate the rules, which were clearly like corporation owners, men. Yeah, when I go back home, like if you're in a city, like, yeah, of course, it's, you don't have to wear heels every day anymore. But I remember like I was going to probably starting the end of middle school, I was going to school on heels every day, full face
gosh.
makeup every day, you know, and
Wow,
that's because everybody was doing that.
right. No, I understand what you mean about hair. I used to have hair down to my butt because, coming from a Mexican family, and it was like, you never can cut your hair, never. I was like, oh my gosh. I wanted to be my brother because my brother had so much fun. He could
Yeah.
rough and tumble, and that, when we went out, I had to put on that dress, and I hated wearing dresses. But now, I mean, I don't want long hair. It was such a headache for me. I
Right.
feel free.
Right.
So,
Right.
so yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, so then, okay, so now when did you come over here in the States?
2011.
How old were you?
18, 19.
18.
Yeah.
All right. And so you were eating meat then?
I think I read Jonathan Safran for Eating Animals, and I stopped for a semester or a year because
Okay.
if you don't know, it's a Jewish author, and he was talking about how like his family went, obviously they were kosher and they went vegetarian because meat is so poorly made here. But then if you look at it, we have problems with it, like literally every other thing that we make and eat here, and how they're delivered and how much energy we waste on that. That's not mentioned in the book, but I mean, if it's like, how far do you want to go in not being a nuisance to this planet? And if it's not as far as killing yourself, because that's the best thing for the planet. We are such lice on this planet. This planet doesn't need us. I guess you like reducing. There's some middle line in reducing the amount of harm that you do, right? But I think the majority of the reason why I stopped eating meat was because of the quality, not because of the environmental reasons, and because of the quality, not for ethical reasons. Ethics, it took me forever to catch up with the ethics, honestly, living in the States.
Right, because everything is leather, everything is, I mean, and you just, I mean, we're not even aware of it, right? How everything is made with animals. I mean, it's hard
Right.
to,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, like I look at my shoes and then I think, is there something on there if I'm not careful, right? If I haven't carefully bought these shoes, then there's probably something, right? So yeah, but anyway, so what about, like, I think about you now. And so what do your, what do your parents think about your short hair and
Oh, short hair, nobody really cared. I mean,
okay,
it
that's
fits
good.
my face well, so as long as I'm happy, it's fine. But when I went vegan, that's when my parents were super worried. They
Okay, so
thought I
that's
would,
different.
yeah, they thought like I would lose my teeth and my period, and I mean, I'm not gonna, like, my health is gonna go down, but my health went up, so you know
Are they, well, so
that
what is,
was
are they vegan?
no,
Oh.
no,
Do they
definitely
want to,
not.
are they interested, or do you talk about it with them, or do they
Yeah,
want,
of course I've talked about that, but talking to relatives is kind of, it's a different animal. So you can talk to other people and kind of feel more on the same level. If you talk to, you probably know, mother, brother, or sister, they feel like they've known you since you were 0. Like, what authority do you have in their eyes? I don't know about that.
right. Yeah, family's the trickiest. I mean, like, just don't worry about the family, just get out there and, advocate to other people. So yeah.
Right. And I mean, I am worried about the family. So it's really funny. Every time I talk to my mom or dad, they list how many animal products they had, trying to justify that it's not a lot to me.
Oh,
They're like, well, I don't eat that much cheese or meat, or but well, I only ate this much. Then I only ate this much of this. Can I please stop telling me this, because I don't care anymore.
no, I have that too. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and it's like a confessional. When they see me, then they start confessing. Well, I don't eat chicken anymore. I don't eat, and it's like, okay,
That's good. That's better.
yeah, that is better, right? Yeah, yeah. So it is better, but it's hard when we see our families eating the stuff that causes heart attacks and strokes. It's like, oh my gosh, and it's hard to just say I accept, right? And I accept to have. I mean, what else can we do? Or we'll go insane.
Right. Yeah. It's honestly, people do the same with sports too. Like they will confess to me, like they will see me and they'll be like, oh, I see you. And I'm reminded that I need to go to the gym. And I'm like, can we please talk about something else? Like, that's my job. I came to hang out with you because we're friends. But yeah. Or they'll be like, yeah, I did this on the deadlift yesterday. And what do you think? I'm like, I don't think anything. I'm not your coach. I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to confess to you before this. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm not confessing anything.
2 thumbs up.
All right. So, okay. So when did this, so tell me how this even started, right? Because if you were really prepped to be wearing heels, this is a difference, right? How did this happen?
How did what happen?
Like from going to heels to lifting weights into bodybuilding into this.
I'm not sure those things are connected at all.
No, I know, but I mean, how did you move from that? You know, I mean,
right.
Like
I still wear heels occasionally.
Right. But no, I mean that all this little girl's going to learn how to do this, right? Were they teaching you this other stuff too? Or like, do they teach you to, you know, in Russia?
The thing is, I think it depends family to family. So my grandma and my dad were very empowering human beings. So they tried to instill into me that I can do anything at any point. And I feel like it's the other women in my family, such as, you know, my mom and other like aunts and grandmas and cousins who were kind of like more traditional in the way that women should be, maybe because that's the way they were taught to be. And yeah, I feel like one of my grandmas and my dad, they were just like, you know, whatever, the rules are not made for you. The rules are made for whoever obliges to the rules, do whatever. And I saw a role model in both of them. So my dad lifted weights.
Cool.
He always tried to bring me to the gym and try to be mom. And mom was just like trying to block herself from that invitation in all ways. And I came occasionally. He built a gym in the basement out of like some random pieces of wood and pipes and like weights that were basically scrap in the yard. So he has the most interesting machines built out of just, you know, pieces of wire and some pipe. Unfortunately, he doesn't allow me to share any of that, but our gym, I really wish I could share. It looks so cool. So yeah, every morning we would go and do something. And then, you know, there was breakfast and the rest of the day, or every morning we would go bike or run, or in the weekend we would go back in the forest. So I've always liked physical activity, plus with how active physically I think I needed to be to maintain sanity. It's like my dog. I have a husky. So if I don't run her, she's going to eat my shoes and my books. And if I remove the books and the shoes, she's going to eat baseboard. So like I'm the same. I will find something to destroy, usually something inside my head, if I don't exercise myself. So I found a huge outlet when I came to college in just working out, whatever it was. I tried all kinds of things, but lifting weights was the thing that stuck and the thing that I found the most joy in. So I feel like my best advice to the people who maybe are listening to this are like, oh, I don't know, maybe I should lift weights, maybe running, maybe Pilates, maybe yoga. Like try all of those things and try them for like, I don't know, dedicate like a couple of weeks, like a month, and see if you dig it, if you feel the pull. If it's like being addicted a little bit, it's like, I have withdrawals if I don't go to the gym anymore. Or I have withdrawals if I don't run. So I think that's a good thing. I think that means that's your thing and that's what you need to do. So I felt withdrawals without the weight room. I felt like I hate everybody unless I exercise myself. So no, for real. It also helped me focus on homework. It helped me focus on whatever else I need on work.
I believe it.
Yeah. So like after college, it was even more so because now you have the time and the money. Well, what are you going to do with it? Like partying only is that fun for a relatively short period of time, right? And then what? And then you need to find some other hobby, goal, whatever to pursue.
Right. So what are your hobbies when you're not lifting weights?
Oh shit. Well, sleep, eating. No, I mean, it's really funny. I don't people say I do so much, but I don't notice how much I do, I guess. I do like going to competitions. I do like supporting my clients who compete and just watching competitions when I'm not competing. Just sitting in the audience, watching other people be strong and, have this zoned in look like they're going to war and just doing their 1 rep max. Or I like watching other sports in person that are, that's interesting. I cannot define the type of sports that I like to watch. Maybe the ones that I've played, like badminton. I'd watch badminton because I used to play it. I'd watch Olympic lifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, because again, I used to do that. I have friends in all of those. I don't like watching the footballs and soccers and basketball. That's the most boring thing to me. I don't know why. Maybe because it's very hard to follow what each individual athlete is doing and how they're focusing and trying. I'm not really sure, but it's kind of like, it feels like something is happening for a long amount of time. And it's like,
Right. No, I've felt that way sometimes. Like when I'm watching football, I can't even keep up with the ball where it went. So,
right. It feels very impersonal. It's like you're watching a movie, or you used to see that on TV, right? And you follow the commentator, and the people are kind of just like pieces of the game. You can't connect with each individual person that much. Sometimes they show them in a big front view, but rarely.
I see what you're saying, definitely. And let me ask you this. What about people that see if you're wearing a plant shirt, right? Do people come up and ask you about that? Tell me about those stories.
Usually not. Maybe I just look so stone cold intimidating that nobody wants to talk to me anymore. No, I'm kidding. I don't go to that many places where I'm a new person. I go get grocery shopping done, and I go to the gym, and I work from home, and then I see my friends, and it's not news for my friends. Yeah. Today, somebody asked me, I was leaving a place, and the guard or the bouncer, whoever was, letting people in and out, he was like, so do you work out? I was wearing a dress, it was like a dress with straps, so you could see all top basically, and then it was flowy, and I guess maybe I was looking like extra buff. I don't know. I didn't lift that day. I was driving for 4 hours, and he was like, yeah, you exercise? What do you do? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a power lifter. I lift. He's like, oh, okay, you look good.
That's funny. Yeah, I bet a lot of guys hit on you.
Not anymore. They used to hit on me when I was a bodybuilder. But short hair helps, and being bigger helps.
So what is it about bodybuilders that get hit on more? What'd you say?
Because they're lean.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Bodybuilders look more defined. You see more muscle because right now I have more muscle than I used to ever in my life, and when I was bodybuilding. But you don't really see super huge definition. You this arm looks like an arm, unless I flex it. But even then, I'm not wearing tan, or you see some kind of shape of a muscle, and I'm just gonna look like a big kind of fat, kind of fit person to you. But a bodybuilder would have all, you interviewed Shelly.
Like Shelly. Yep.
Exactly. You can see ripped. The human anatomy. Right. She's ripped because she has less body fat. So you can just see the muscle better. So when people see more muscle, it looks striking, because it's hard to have very low body fat with a lot of muscle. So not a lot of people are like that. Very rare in real life. You will see them. It's mostly on TV or on stage or on the cover of a magazine, when they have to diet for weeks and then dehydrate, and then they're on the cover, and then they're like, thank God, water. Right? So in real life, you don't really see that. So that turns heads.
Well, that's interesting, because I would think, that in order to be a power lifter, you'd have to look like Shelly.
Why? What's the logic there?
I mean, you'd have to really have all those defined muscles, right? To be a power lifter.
So I said, the muscles look defined when there's no fluff covering them.
Oh, okay.
Right? I have a fat covering my muscles, and so do you, and so does everybody. We all have muscle and fat. We cannot exist without either of those things. We always have some muscle. We always have some fat, right? Bodybuilders they compete in who looks better.
Mm.
And better is defined different for each category. The one that Shelly is competing in, it's a lot less body fat and a lot more muscular. The one that I used to compete in was bikini and then figure. Bikini is the least amount of muscle and the most amount of fat. So they're usually smaller girls who haven't really worked out that much. And they're like, I look fit enough. I'll just diet for a little bit and then step on stage. And the next one is figure. You can Google it very easily, like bodybuilding categories for women or for men.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see that progressively, they as they get to the more muscle and less fat, they would look harder and harder. Looking hard means hard cuts in the muscle. You can see everything at all. Looking softer is like, I look soft right now. I look real fluffy. I look real soft. In bodybuilding terms, means because I have a lot of fat covering my muscle. So I may have a lot of muscle. Nobody knows. Like, I know I do. But if I'm on stage, you won't really know because you just can't see it. So it doesn't help in powerlifting or in life or in any other sports. It doesn't help being strong if you can see the muscle.
Okay, that's it. It doesn't help.
It helps to have it. I have it. You cannot see it.
Got it. Okay. So we don't have to see it. It's there. Well, I know it's there. I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it.
You know it's there because of how much I can lift.
Right. And how much is that?
For which exercise?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah. So powerlifting competes in squat, bench, and deadlift. And I can last competition I squatted 380. I benched 205, 209. I'll calculate right now because I only know my kilos. I do not know my pounds. 92.5. 204. I benched 204 and I deadlifted 397.
Okay. Wow. And how do you, I mean, so you've got to have a strong back. I mean, a strong everything, but especially back, to support. Yeah. And what would you say is a good exercise for a back for? Oh,
there's no one good exercise. There's usually, in order to maintain good strength in the back, especially, you need to do a variety of exercises.
Okay, that's good to hear, right? Yeah, you're right, because the back's connected to everything. So if you isolate, I mean, it's all a whole. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's very hard to isolate the back. I'm not a fan of isolation exercises. Powerlifters normally do compound exercises, which means we use exercises that use the whole body, right? So like barbell back squat uses the whole body. Deadlift uses the whole body. Bench press still uses the whole body. If you do it in the powerlifting, not in the bodybuilding, like, I'm just going to be flat and like isolate. So yeah, those, or Olympic weightlifters, clean and jerk, absolutely. And snatches, yeah.
What about a plank? Does that really use all the muscles of the body?
Sure.
Does that go worth it? So should I really be planking every day?
I don't really know because I don't know your injury history. I haven't seen you, haven't seen your back. So I don't really make workout recommendations like this. Or if somebody asks me whether this is a good food to eat or this is a good exercise, I'm an advocate for not demonizing one single exercise and one single food, because I'm going to tell you this. Every exercise can be a good exercise if you're ready for it, right? And then every exercise can be a back exercise if you do it wrong enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have to be very careful to do it right.
We don't have to be actually very careful. That's a myth.
We don't?
No. Like if you think about Americans.
I think I might be doing it wrong sometimes. So good. Tell me this.
Think about Americans. We sit in our chairs and then we go and sit in the cars some more. And then we go sit in a restaurant and then we go lay in bed or watch Netflix. And we're so unhealthy. Our backs are not healthy. Our necks, our everything is because we don't do enough exercise. We don't go out enough and breathe fresh air enough. So if you think about people in like, I don't know, countries that are less fortunate than us, and people who like drag bags of rice all day and move them, or like are bent over in fields planting stuff, they are so much more healthy, even though Do you think they're doing it with the correct form?
No.
All day? Like all day? But their backs are so much stronger and they're so much healthier. They can be lifting with their bent back, like it can look awful. And you can be like, oh my gosh, he's going to break himself or she's going to break herself. But like there has been, I'm not going to quote any individual research paper right this moment because I don't remember. But if you look up, there is research that says people in the countries less fortunate have been doing all of these strenuous exercises with however shitty form are so much better off rather than us doing this amount of stuff with perfect form for this amount of time. So it is about quantity too, not about quality. And unless you lift super huge heavy weights, it's very hard to break a human body. It really is.
Well, good. I'm very glad to hear that because I think I'm messing everything up by not using the exact right form. So
don't worry about it. Just do stuff. Just do stuff until you get to the level where you're like, all right, I could actually break something if I do this wrong, which is a very high level. That's like my level. If you're lifting on like a lifestyle type of level, not a competitive level, you don't need to worry about anything. Just do stuff. Do more compound full body exercises such as clean and jerk, snatches, squat, bench, deadlift, shoulder press. Don't worry about bicep curls and freaking abs. Throw those away. Throw isolation machines out of your regimen. Unless you are so incapable that those are the only things you can do without pain, then you can start with those. But most people, that stuff's too easy.
So is it true? I mean, people will say, I'm going to get an exercise for my stomach. And then like if they have a big stomach, right? And that's
stomach is not a muscle. Let's start with that. That's not a muscle.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me, you address that, you know?
Okay. And then they say what? I'm actually going to exercise my stomach, they say. And then what do they say?
And they say, I'm going to get a 6-pack, you know, as they're going to exercise just the stomach. And then it's going to be looking beautiful if they concentrate on the stomach, but then they're still eating and have a lot of fat everywhere else. Is it possible to have a very fit 6-pack here?
I have a really thick 6-pack. You want to see it? I'm going to show you my really fit
Okay, show it to me. Yeah, but
Great.
You're fit all over.
Great. This is my very fit 6. Do you see it? No.
No,
Why?
Underneath.
Exactly.
Got you.
Exactly. My 6, I can feel it with my hands. You can probably too if you're trained enough, and so can everybody. So if you want to exercise your abs, you sure can. But whether you see it or not depends on the amount of body fat you have in your whole body.
Got you.
And unless you want to do plastic surgery or what is it called, liposuction in just one spot and just suck out all the fat from just underneath the stomach, like above your abs, you're not going to see your abs until you lean out slowly everywhere yourself. And you only can do that if you are dieting for long enough. You cannot choose where your body decides to get rid of body fat. Your genetics chooses that.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I think. You can't choose it, right? You can't choose it. And I'm glad you said that. I think I have a big 6-pack too, but I'm not going to show you my stomach. Okay.
Well, I did that because a lot of the people probably have a wrong perception of, you know, what a strong person, what a capable person, a woman needs to look like. And I really am trying to break those expectations. Like I'll show my body all the time and people will see like, oh, she's a powerlifter, but she looks kind of fat. Yeah, because I am kind of fat. Powerlifters are kind of fat. Relax. I'm still very healthy. That's my point. And that's what people don't understand until you like tell them. And then you break it down. You're like, oh, actually, yeah. Having low body fat, yeah, it doesn't make you stronger. It's just body fat.
Right. Well, I would never look at you and think you're fat.
I'm fat per bodybuilding standards. The way I use this term is it's not in a judgmental like way. Right. It's kind of like you're tall or you're short. Being fat to me is a person who has a significant amount of body fat. I have a significant amount of body fat. I don't have too much body or too little. Like I have whatever percentage I have, probably about 25%. But that's enough for you to not see definition in my muscles. So because I used to bodybuild, I would call a person without too much definition fat.
I understand. Yeah. So I think that, okay, got it. Well, what's normal fat? Is there a normal fat or maybe I don't know?
There's recommendations from like WHO and from I forget the whoever recommends us the percentages in the US. I think for women it's like up to 30%, and for men up to 25% is considered healthy. But also look this up. I don't remember if they dropped those numbers. They could have dropped those numbers about 5% a couple of years ago in order to prescribe more obesity medications. So I think it used to be 35 for women and 30 for men. But don't quote me on this. Please look this up. I do know that they dropped the number somewhat in order for them to be like, oh, like let's say if I gained like 5 more pounds and I go to the doctor and be like, oh, you're obese. Well, my BMI is higher, right? Because I have more muscle. So athletes typically are higher on the BMR scale. And if I gain like a couple more fat, I could very well be deemed obese. And if I go to the doctor, they would really try to sell me some shit. And
Right. That is crazy, but yes, I believe you. And so do you have your doctor, is your doctor plant-based, or is your doctor?
I do not have a primary doctor here.
Okay.
My primary doctor is my OBGYN.
Okay. Well, that works.
Yeah. Because I don't need somebody who will tell me whatever about food, or I don't know. I don't think they are qualified to tell me those things. I've been an athlete long enough, and I do not have formal nutrition education or medical education. I wanted to go back to school for exercise science. That would be the only thing that I get if I go back to school ever. But doctors don't. They have like one course in nutrition and like no courses on training. So who are they to recommend those things?
Right. Well, I see Ellen is here. She's saying hello, and she and I are taking the eCornell plant-based nutrition course right now. So yeah, it's wonderful. They have scholarships for that, and learning about, well, disease and nutrition. My gosh, I've been eating plants. I'm scared to eat anything. It's like, my gosh, after watching these videos all day long and listening to the experts, I don't want to eat anything processed. I mean, of course, I just to a certain extent, not crazily, but I'm really working hard. And then Ellen's saying she's lucky that she found a vegan trainer that she's working with.
Good. That's also pretty rare.
Yeah, and you're a vegan trainer.
Yeah, I do exercise programs for vegan women, primarily. I train everybody. I'll train guys. I'll train non-vegans. It doesn't matter. But I really prefer training vegan girls. That's true.
And so who are your clients? I mean, is it people that want to just get in shape?
The majority of my clients are like between 45 and 60 women who just want to feel better and lose like 10 to 20 pounds of fat and learn how to train with a barbell and feel strong. They don't want to feel smaller. They want to feel stronger. So I would say the majority of their goals is just to have no pain in the knees and back, lose maybe a little bit of fat, but that goal, the aesthetics goal is usually kind of secondary for them. The majority of the goal is just like, I'm aging. I don't like that. I noticeably feel weaker. We need to fix that. So some of them have been athletes, some of them have not been athletes. And yeah, we just work out, and they send me videos of their exercises. I review them. I give them feedback every day. Yeah, I love it.
And that's online then. It's not only in person.
I don't do in person.
Oh, okay, good. Perfect.
Yeah. I write programs for people. I don't think it's a good bang for anybody's buck if, let's say you hired me in person, right? And you paid me $120 and I hold your hand for an hour and we talk and have a real good time in the gym and I count your reps or, say, oh, move your knee that way, move your hips that way, and you leave, you have no idea what to do. I can take the same hour to design a workout program for you for the whole month and write your nutrition plan and check your videos every week and give you a call every week to make sure I answer your questions, give you any tips that I think you're missing, and change anything, tweak anything in your plan so you keep progressing. It takes about the same amount of time, less time for me. It gives you so much more.
Yeah, it sounds great. And then is it like, what's the length of time they work with you?
However long they need to. I usually just have regular clients now, so They've been with me for, I don't know, a year, 2 years. I would say the normal amount of time people stick with me is just so that they can learn. It's like college, like you're there until you learn enough and you're like, all right, I think I can go try it by myself. So if people just needed kind of like quick overdue and done, I'm not your gal. I don't do that. That's stupid, and you can go diet your way to death somewhere else. But I do like holistic plans, and usually folks stick for like half a year to a year, depending on whether they're trying to compete. That's the minority of my clients. Unfortunately, I love telling folks you can go compete in any age. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you can lift a barbell, just do that. It's one of the most transformative experiences of your life. It's so cool. You're stepping on a platform, everybody's looking at you like, come on, you got this. And yeah, unfortunately, the minority of them compete, but I lead people into competitions. If not, then we can just keep lifting until they're bored of me, or until they are cool on their own.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting. And Ellen says that I guess she's got a young trainer, got her business because she's a vegan bodybuilder. Because, tell us about, the group that you were in with Jeff and Shelly, and tell us about that competition.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not sure what group you mean, but do you mean Vegan Strong Plantbuilt, or
Yes.
do you mean Jeff's vegan health World Vegan Fitness Health Expo?
Well, tell us about both.
Order of words. Okay. So Jeff has a supplement company, right? So he throws an expo, a show. He throws a bodybuilding show, and I've been trying to convince him to throw a powerlifting competition, but he hasn't done that. I was like, yeah, I can help you. We can do that. So we'll see. There's more vegan bodybuilders than powerlifters as of now. So unfortunately, that's the case. So I feel like if we do like an only vegan powerlifting meet, I don't know who's going to show up. But to his bodybuilding show, there was like a good amount of folks who turned out, actually. And that was in Florida in the spring. And yeah, there was a bodybuilding show. I was a speaker there. There were a lot of folks who were there just to hang out, to watch. There were folks who were vendors. There were vegan businesses advocating, just like you, for either, the animals or the planet, or they were coaches, whatever they were doing. But everybody there was a vegan business, and met a lot of cool folks. And that was it. I think he hosts the only vegan bodybuilding show in the world, as far as I know.
Too. Yeah, that's Jeff Palmer. Jeff Palmer Clean Machine.
Right. And Vegan Strong Team Plantbuilt is the team that invited me to compete 2 years ago, and I compete on their powerlifting team. That's
very exciting. Where was the last competition?
Last competition was 2 weeks ago, and it was at Mr. America.
At where?
It was in New Jersey. Mr. America.
Mr. America? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, that was in New Jersey, and we went, how many people were there? 40, 50 athletes, plus minus. Yeah, I think there were something around 40 athletes at least. And we had CrossFit, Olympic lifting, kettlebell, strongman, powerlifting, bodybuilding. Did I say kettlebell?
Yes, but that's okay. Say it again.
Okay. So then we had 6 disciplines, if I'm not forgetting something. I think that's it. Yeah. Super cool, because international vegan team, I think it's the biggest international athletic team in the world, unless I don't know something happening in China or India or anywhere else where people can do a lot of cool things and there's a lot of strong athletes. But yeah, it was hella fun. The videos and photos from that are just starting to trickle out. So follow my socials and my YouTube and our socials to see all that stuff.
Yeah, and you have a lot of friends now in the bodybuilding and fitness world.
I mainly have friends in the powerlifting community, I think, because I don't really do bodybuilding anymore. But I know a lot of I know a lot of vegan bodybuilders, right? I know a lot of just vegan athletes across all sports. So yeah, I guess locally, I just mainly go to powerlifting stuff. If I'm invited to a bodybuilding show, I'll go, or if my client is competing, I'll go. But I'm more in the strength sports world rather than the aesthetical world.
Right. Yeah. See, I have to understand that.
No,
You
it's
know?
fine. People who are not in sport use those terms completely interchangeably, and it confuses athletes because we're like, huh? Like they're like basically the opposite sports. It does not matter how much a bodybuilder can lift. They can be super weak and super pretty, right? And I can look like shit, but I can be the strongest person. It doesn't matter how I look at all, right? A lot of powerlifters, like they're just big people. They can lift a mountain of weights, and that's how they win.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, you're clearing up some things that I'm confused about. So Ellen has a question. What's your thought on using vegan protein powder? Do you feel focused on whole plant protein sources for muscle development?
So there's nothing wrong with protein powders. They can be whole, actually, like Jeff's. They can be extracted. Usually just by single ingredient proteins, such as I can go to like nuts.com and get like a Sasha Inchi protein or pea protein or brown rice protein, and like there's nothing wrong with them. They're whole, and I can mix them in whatever proportions. Add my peanut butter powder for my dose of lysine, and add stevia if I want. Add cocoa powder. I have a really good protein, like homemade protein mix on my website if you want to make it at home. But there's also nothing wrong in buying it from the company that you trust. Like my go-to advice, which doesn't apply to all companies, but the most of them, is the less ingredients there are, like the better, right? So if I see brown rice protein, pea protein, stevia, I don't know, cocoa powder, and some kind of like a dried mushroom for fortified something, like, all right, that's simple enough. I understand what all of that means. And maybe there's like xanthan gum or whatever they need for smooth mixing, that's fine. If I read it as like something carbonate butyrate, and I'm like, okay, well, I can Google all those things and they may as well just be just fine. But I don't really know right away. I don't like when they have a lot of fillers. I do like when my protein has less fiber because I eat more fiber. So I don't like when they put like coconut oil or other kinds of fats, because I consume enough fats in my diet. I don't need fats in my freaking protein. I don't need fats in my protein bar. Like that's stupid. If it's a protein thing, keep it protein, because I'll eat carbs and fats from other sources, right? So again, with protein powders, supplements, any other thing that you eat, as long as you're getting what you need, you trust the company, and you understand the ingredients, it is perfectly fine.
And you said that you have a on your webpage a protein.
Yeah, on totalbodylab.com, I have a recipe of, like, if you buy single ingredient proteins, how I mix them to just make them taste good. And, in case I don't want to buy a pre-mixed version, if I just buy brown rice protein, pea protein, whatever, chocolate powder, mix it. But again, there's nothing wrong in having that mixed at some facility and delivered to you. I do not think that matters. I used to think that really matters, and that, oh my God, processed foods, so bad. But like, there's not even any legal definition for processed. There's no legal definition for natural, right? So like, I think a lot of vegans are afraid of those terms. But what they mean is something else. Like, what they mean is it's like chips and has a bunch of crap in it, right? Or something else that's super unhealthy. They would call those foods processed, even though, like, if I cook a pumpkin, is it processed now? If I cut it and put it in the blender, is it processed? Is my soup processed? Because technically it is. Or if I put it in a container and bring it to my friend's house and it cooled, and then I reheat it, is it now processed? Like, what's the line? So
Right.
that's why I don't really like to use those terms, because people understand very different things under natural and processed, even though everything in the world is natural and everything is a chemical at the same freaking time. So
No, I know what you mean. So I took we did at Health. I work with them too. And I interviewed, we had Camilla Pericello on, and she was a food scientist. So she talked about process. Basically, everything's processed,
yeah,
I mean, except, like broccoli. If you have a head of broccoli, that's probably not, but, the nuts that we eat, those are processed. So, I mean,
yeah.
yeah. So we can't just say all processed foods are bad. You're right. But I trip up and I'll say things, but it's, awareness, like heavily processed, right? We're trying to avoid, and then like junk, right? There's a big difference.
I would rather say junk. Junk is a better, junk foods,
Junk.
trash foods. Yeah, those are better, probably more accurate.
Right.
I usually like to say instead like foods that have a lot of homogenized fats, a lot of saturated fats, even vegan foods, or refined sugars and refined oils. Again, there's nothing wrong with them, but those in large quantities usually have more calories. And if you usually eat more of those, you usually get more obese. Now, you see, usually in between every one of those things, I eat my sugars and oils and everything inside. I eat like a bear who broke into somebody's house. But that's because my diet requires a lot of calories. I require a lot of calories to sustain my lifting and my recovery. Most people do not. And when most people use a lot of refined sugars and refined oils and whatever, they just get out of shape.
How many hours a day do you work out?
A day. I work out like 3 days a week.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah. I don't work out all the time. Maybe 4. I'll usually bench like 3 or 4 times a week, and I'll squat like 2 times a week and deadlift like once or maybe even once in 10 days, depending on how heavy it is. Because deadlift is such a heavy exercise that lowers your posterior chain that like I will take all of the recovery that I need from that.
All right. So if I'm building muscles, I want to make sure okay, so now I'm standing watching my friend's dog, and I've been lifting. I mean, doing all my stuff is over at my house. Now, how do I need? I mean, how soon do I need to get back to it, or before I start losing muscle?
You're fine unless you are losing weight. You're fine. If you are in calorie deficit and you're trying to lose body fat, you eat kind of randomly, you don't have enough protein and you don't have enough stimulus for your body to grow or maintain, your body may start losing muscle.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah. So I'm good. You've made me feel good about a lot of things. I don't have to do perfect exercise.
That's my job.
Right?
That's my job, because people have so many misunderstandings, and they're like, oh, work out perfectly, eat perfectly, perfect amount of protein, perfect vitamins, nothing processed, all natural, whole food, plant-based. And it's like you're working yourself into this hole that is antisocial, little miserable bubble where you can't do anything unless it's perfect. And then at some point you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna eat fries tonight because I can't do this anymore. And then you crash. So my job, I think, is to tell people that you don't have to be perfect. You have to be a little bit better than like, I don't know, halfway through to really get results.
Right. Well, that's very true. Right. And then that's a turn off to other people. It's like, I can never be like that. So I might as well just eat, 4 Big Macs.
That was my life. That was exactly my life until after college. I trained, and then I went vegan and I hired a coach, and my coach was like, you could compete in bodybuilding. You're pretty lean. And I'm like, what do you mean? Those girls, they're perfect. Their genetics is perfect. They've been doing perfect things for perfect amount of time. And I'm like a nobody. And I don't look good. And she's like, yeah, you actually do. Just, you'll see it when they put some spray tan on you. And I did. And I won like 7 awards in my first year of bodybuilding. And I was like, oh, that's shocking. So I can do that. Anybody can do this. Wow. I did not know that. That's weird. So.
All right. You heard it here. Anybody can do it. So we can get out there and we can lift, and we can be on stage and have everybody cheering for us.
Let's rather be on the platform, because that doesn't bring you body dysmorphia. Powerlifting platform is so much better for your mental health than bodybuilding, because I thought about my body, and then I thought, okay, now I'm gonna I'm actually getting inspired to compete. I'm gonna go compete. And oh my gosh, and I won, and I won again, and I thought, going up to it, I thought, it's just going to resolve all the problems of my life. I'm going to be so happy because I look so amazing and everything is amazing. As reality, you have so little amount of body fat. When you're so lean on stage, your body is literally shutting down. That is the case with all bodybuilders, right? Especially the higher level competitors. And you get body dysmorphia because you're compared to other people literally on stage. You have to take pictures and videos of yourself every day and send them to your coach. You have to take posing routines and nitpick at yourself. Like, oh, I have like a little crease in here. Oh, I'll get points taken off for that. Or I have like a, stretch mark. Or like, I can't bulge my stomach. And like, it gets in your head so much. I don't know a lot of bodybuilders who don't have eating disorders and body dysmorphia. And that actually has been my curse probably until like 2 years ago. So I don't recommend you get on stage. I recommend you get on the platform.
I'll get on the platform then.
Unless your mental health is so good, you're bulletproof from eating disorders, you can try bodybuilding.
No, right. I'd rather lift. That's more fun, I think. Right. I feel very powerful.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You don't feel very powerful when you're emaciated. You feel powerful when you are lifting a lot of weight.
Right. We got one more question. Is there a special over 50s category if I want to compete someday?
Compete in what?
That's a good question. So the platform is this.
Powerlifting. So that's if you're talking Olympic lifting. I don't do Olympic lifting. That's, the slash and clean and jerk. Yeah, I do powerlifting. So that is barbell back squat, bench press, and deadlift. So there are master's categories after every 10 years, starting 40. So Ellen, yes, you will have discounts on winning. You'll get additional points for being older, essentially after 40 and after 50. And there's actually a formula that powerlifting. Okay.
All right. Well, there she goes.
I just sold you on powerlifting. Hell yeah. Okay, great. Awesome. Amazing. I wish I could bring my camera to the living room and show you all the awards, but this is attached to the computer. But yeah, it's really fun. And if you enter a small competition, regardless if it's bodybuilding and powerlifting, you can very well just win, because there's not a lot of people competing against you. You could win your weight category relatively easily.
Well, great. Then we'll see Ellen. She'll be next.
Yeah, Ellen, hit me up on social media and let me know where you want to compete. Maybe I'll make you some recommendations.
Great. All right. Well, this has been wonderful. So now tell us where we can connect with you. TotalBodyLab.com.
Right. TotalBodyLab.com is my website and my coaching company. So if you want some recipes of the foods that I used to eat as a bodybuilder, I kind of don't put a lot of stuff that I eat now as a powerlifter because I just eat everything. It's very nice. As a bodybuilder, you have to eat stuff with less calories and less fats and less carbs, but so much protein. And it's so hard to make things taste good when they have a shitload of protein and like barely anything else. So there's recipes like that. There's protein infographics. There's some other articles. I mainly have advice videos on YouTube. I don't really write articles. So you can go to Total Body Lab YouTube, put in my name after that to make sure it's me. I don't think there's any other Total Body Lab, but the algorithm doesn't know me very well yet. Let's see. I also have a webinar, How to Get in the Best Shape of Your Life, which is technically the topic of this talk, I guess, but I'll let you lead it. I can talk to folks who want to do that next month. So in about a month, we have a webinar on the topic. It's free. You can join. I'll have a 50-deck slide. You'll just take notes and you'll be ready to go after that. I have a free book that just came out, actually. I don't think I have a copy here. No, I did not have a copy here. I need to print a new one. So it is a vegan powerlifting starter guide. And you can just get it on totalbodylab.com/guide. Yeah, there is a new one. The old one's 18 pages. The new one's 50 plus. I'm putting in references right now. So it's almost cooked. If you get it now, it may have like no references and a couple typos. But if you get the old one, I'll send you a new one regardless once it's out of the review.
Well, great. And I think that Ellen and I are ready to get in the best shape of our lives as a vegan, right? Especially after we're taking the eCornell to make sure that we're on track and lifting and being strong, plant powered, right? So
plant powered. Oh, I didn't say Instagram. Instagram is the best way to get like an immediate response from me. Instagram or Facebook. Yeah. So Instagram is just my last name and letter E, Gorbacheva E. And Facebook is my Katya Gorbacheva, my name. So if you Google me, you'll find me very, very easily.
Right. She's everywhere. All right. Well, thank you so much. I feel very inspired by this, and I feel a lot, well, I mean, I'm more clear on things here. So, yeah.
That's awesome to hear.
I hope I see you again at the next Veg Fest. And
yeah, next one is actually this Sunday.
Where is it?
It's in Greensboro, North Carolina. It's our last one of the year. So
oh, wow.
If you know any folks in Greensboro, it's just 45 minutes away from here. From Durham. So I'll be there. It's a small indoors festival all organized by Veg Fest Expos, Helene Greenberg, and I can't wait.
Well, that'll be fun. All right. Everybody keep going to the Veg Fest, keep lifting weights, and keep eating. Eating. We want to have, I like the way you look. So cool.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
All right. And Ellen is saying thank you both. Yep.
Thanks, Ellen. Good questions.
All right, y'all. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. My group coaching starts November 1st. Sign up, and then we'll see you on all over, Katya, and we'll be cheering for you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Mariquita. Bye.
Now, stay vegan. Bye.